as if they find
Need to
us
watch
here.
this. This is extremely
We will leave
sad.
our home and flee to any area.
This is what's going on that the majority of the Americans don't even know nothing about.
Bashar al-Assad's forces are tearing at their heels. Airstrikes and artillery are redrawing the landscape here as the regime captures more and more territory. The world has stopped counting Syria's dead, but in Idlib they don't have that luxury. In the blanket, the charred corpse of another victim. In Kafar Noreen, they knew the regime warplanes were coming and ran for cover, but their homes gave them little protection. I can't recognise him, my father or my brother, I don't know, says Abu Ahmed. We lift and bury, this is our fate, we the Syrian people. The Turkish-backed rebels and Islamist extremists are losing Idlib, but today they had a small victory, the downing of a helicopter. The helicopter behind me belongs to the regime, he says in Turkish. It was dropping barrel bombs on innocent civilians, women and children. In Syria, even the dead have no peace. Returning regime army soldiers back at their village, and they find the grave of a rebel commander, Abu Kamal. Throw that away, he'll remain unknown, they say as they desecrate the site. The living here are running out of breathing space. Ahmed has just been dug out of the rubble after Syrian jets attacked a market in Idlib city. 17 people died around him. The pleas for a ceasefire, some respite, are ignored. In a nearby bed, 11-year-old Reem Aboud screams from shrapnel wounds. She and Ahmed will recover, but then what? They will likely end up here, joining many of Idlib's other children, clinging on in the sprawling camps at the country's edge with Turkey. A place where people are corralled and forgotten. Once again, Idlib is asking for help, but the world has left it and Syria behind. Quentin Somerville, BBC News.
Now, Sudan has indicated that it's willing to hand over its former president, Omar al-Bashir, to the International Criminal Court. This is a huge moment. He's been wanted by the ICC for years. Here's the announcement being made.
We have agreed on the appearance of those who face arrest warrants before the International Criminal Court. I'm saying this very clearly. We cannot achieve justice unless we heal the wound using justice itself. We cannot run away from facing those who have committed crimes against humanity and war crimes against innocent people in Darfur and in other places.
As you may have noted, no names were mentioned there, but Omar al-Bashir is chief on the list of those charged by the ICC. He's wanted in connection with his role in the conflict in Darfur in the west of Sudan. The UN says around 300,000 people were killed during that conflict. The allegation is that the president was responsible for some of these deaths. That's something he denies, but after he was driven from power last year, his ability to avoid these charges has diminished. BBC's Anne Soy has more.
It is a huge development for Sudan and for the people of Darfur. The announcement was made in the morning by the spokesperson of the Transitional Military Council, basically the council that is currently running Sudan. He was in Juba when he made that announcement, saying that he had reached that agreement and they would be handing over Omar al-Bashir to the International Criminal Court. Now, it's been a long time coming. Omar al-Bashir was indicted for war crimes and crimes against humanity, including genocide in the Darfur, crimes that were committed between 2003 and around 2010. There were 2 arrest warrants against him by the International Criminal Court issued in 2009 and 2010, but they were largely ignored. He continued to travel across Africa and the Middle East. Countries that are members of the ICC did not hand him over. In some cases, the governments were taken to court, to their local courts in their countries, but still, until now, there hasn't been any willingness to hand him over to the ICC, and that's why this is a major development.
and finishes this edition of Outside Source. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at the usual time. Bye-bye.
It's extremely dire over there. Extremely.